All set to go, Martina?
We are ready. Thank you.
Hey, welcome everyone. Before I begin, I'd like to remind you that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the Township YouTube channel. We're holding this meeting as though we're in the council chambers and will follow all our regular procedures and policies. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak on a matter and I'll call on you. When I call on you to vote, I will call for all those in favor, followed by all those opposed. And physically, if you could physically raise your hand to vote in a manner you wish to vote. That'll save me some, and I'll try to have a good view of everyone at voting time. I now would like to call the roll. Please raise your hand and state your presence when I call your name. Member Wendy Dunford.
Present.
Okay, Ken Jackman.
Here.
Jim Patterson.
Present.
And myself, Carl Moher, Deputy Mayor and Chair of this committee. As well, we have staff members. Martina is here. Kate Hardwick, she's a Deputy Clerk and Chair or Clerk Planning for this committee. And as well, we have Nicole Zinner behind the scenes helping us with the technical part of this. Throughout the meeting, there will be individuals joining the meeting, and I see an individual for the planning meeting, what appears to be already on the call. And I welcome to Holly that you're for the Committee of Adjustments. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And I guess the disclosure, any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing no nods, could I have the approval of the minutes from March 26th, please? Okay, Ken, it moves it. A second by Jim. All those in favor? Carried. Those not in favor, seeing none. Okay, our first minor variance is A0521, Frank and Cassandra Lessner. And Holly, I believe you're representing the client there. Martina, can you give us an overview of this before we give the opportunity to Holly to add further information, please?
Absolutely. So this is a minor variance for property located at Plan 11, Lot 20, known as 44024 Island 107 in the Dummer Ward. The property owner would like to construct a new sleeping cabin on the parcel of land. To permit the construction of the new cabin, variances are required to approve an increase in maximum floor area from 47 meters squared, which is 505.9 square feet, to 59.37 meters squared, which is 639.05 square feet, a variance of 12.37 meters squared, or 133.15 meters squared. And further, that the setback from an unopened road allowance be decreased from 15 meters, 49.2 feet, to 6 meters, 19.69 feet. All of these dimensions are shown on the site plan that was prepared by JBF Surveyors, Ontario Land Surveyor, dated March 19th, 2021. We have received some comments. First, Curve Lake First Nation is suggesting a stage 1 and stage 2 archaeological assessment. The Autonomy Region Conservation Authority sent in official comments. They state the following. A submitted topographical survey indicates the proposal is outside of the flood hazard. Therefore, it is the opinion of Autonomy staff that the application is consistent with Section 3.1 of the Provincial Policy Statement. To demonstrate conformity with Sections 4.2.4.5 B and C of the Growth Plan, Authority staff recommend a planting plan to restore to the maximum extent possible the ecological features and functions in the developed shoreline area. And it is the opinion of the Autonomy Conservation staff that the current proposal is consistent with Section 2.1 and 2.2 of the Provincial Policy Statement and conforms to Section 4.2.3 of the Growth Plan. Further to that, permits will be required from Autonomy Region Conservation Authority for any works that are taking place. We've also received 2 comments from neighbors. The first one is from Kathy Lakotos. She states that she is a neighbor to the west of the property, and it is my understanding that a request for an additional building is being submitted for consideration. It is my understanding that this building will be located on the east side of the property near the road allowance. I have no objection for going ahead with this plan. And we've also received a comment from Peter Pearson, and he states he's the sole owner of the property at 4428 Long Island, Stony Lake, which lies to the east of the property. He states that I understand that construction activities will shortly commence on the island to construct a freestanding structure, a bunkie, adjacent to the main Lesnar property. Please be advised that I have no objection to this bunkie being constructed on Lesnar property in any way, shape, or form. And should we have any additional comments or questions, we're able to contact him. Both of the comments from Curve Lake First Nations and the Otonabee Region Conservation Authority were addressed as part of the application. There was comments in the notes section that Mrs. Richard Conley had submitted. This property is zoned as island residential, and residential uses are permitted within this zone. In this case, the applicant is seeking relief from section 3.41.1 maximum floor area and section 3.1.2D setback from a road. I'll leave Holly to speak to the details of the application and the property, but staff here at the township believe that this application is consistent with the official plan, as the plan allows for construction of a sleeping cabin on islands and shoreline residential properties. The notice was also circulated to the management team, and no comments were received at the time of writing the report and have not been received since then. As the committee reviews this application, they'll need to decide if the application meets the 4 tests. The application is or is not minor in nature. The application is or is not desirable and appropriate to the development of the land. The application meets or does not meet the general intent of the official plan. The application meets or does not meet the general intent of the zoning bylaw. After your decision, you'll also need to pass a resolution regarding the impact, if any, of any comments that have been received. And township staff are recommending this application, and if this application is approved, that the following conditions be attached. That the variance would be for the life of the structure only, that the applicant would obtain any necessary permits from ORCA, the building department, Trent Severn Waterways, or any other required ministry or agency, that proper building plans be submitted with the building permit application based on the design that was included with the application, that verification from an Ontario land surveyor be provided to the township's chief building official after the structure is framed to confirm that all of the applicable setback requirements have been met, and to ensure compliance with any relief granted by this decision of the committee, that the applicants work with ORCA staff to create a planting plan, that an archaeological study be completed and submitted to the Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism, and Culture, and that if any archaeological artifacts are found during construction, that all development shall be halted immediately and the proper agency be contacted.
That's it, Martina?
That's it.
Thank you. Holly, is there any highlights you'd like to make regarding this application, please?
Through you, the chair. No, Martina did a good job of covering all of the requests. We're obviously requesting a slightly larger footprint than is allowed by the zoning bylaw and a decrease from the road allowance on an island. But I'm just here to answer any questions. We've already checked with the township regarding the septic. So the septic is perfectly sized for the bunkie and will not, a new septic won't be required. The archaeological assessment has been booked, but due to the coldness of the water and the amount of equipment they have to bring over, they're waiting for weather to warm up to do that. And then last week I spoke to the contractor who will be doing the bunkie, and he confirmed that no blasting will be required.
Okay. Okay, questions from members. Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, just through the chair, just this one puzzled me a bit. Being an island, the road setback, I've never run into that in my experience. I'm not just sure how a road setback applies on an island. That's just a question, I guess.
Go ahead, Martina.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it is very strange that there is road on this island. This island is really particular. These lots that we're speaking about today, they were created by a plan of subdivision. And in that plan of subdivision, which was created in the early 1900s, they did include a road allowance. And then the rest of the island is actually unceded Crown land. So it's really a peculiar case. We don't have many islands like this in our area, and this is the only island I know of that has an unopened road allowance on it.
Further questions? Ken, go ahead.
Through the chair. Thanks, Martina. That, yeah, like I said, I'd never run into it. Anyway, at this point, I'm prepared to move that we approve the minor variance with the noted conditions, taking into effect the noted comments in regards to the planning plan from Orca and the stage 1 and 2 archaeology study that I guess has already been booked from what we've heard.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, it looks like Wendy is trying to get your attention. I apologize for interrupting.
Yep, I've noticed her hand here. I was, can we get a seconder for that motion, and then I'll let you go ahead, Wendy?
I'd like to hear Wendy's
Okay, can you
comments.
withdraw your motion, Ken, for a moment?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I
Wendy.
can. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am having a bit of a problem with this one, just in regards to the size. It's supposed to be a sleeping cabin, but almost half of it is a sitting area. And I'm a little concerned about the size of that sitting area. I don't know why it needs to be so big, why we need a minor variance here. And my concern about the size of the sitting area is that down the road, potentially a new owner could turn it into a kitchen. It's not very hard to plug in a toaster and a microwave and a coffee pot. And down the road, maybe with a new owner, they could easily put a sink in. And 341.2 says that you can't have preparation of meals in a sleeping cabin. Now, I've seen many sleeping cabins that are 100 square feet. So I don't really understand why we have to go this big.
Okay, Holly, can you address that?
It's my understanding through Martina that a variance was sought originally on this property to build the cottage that is existing. I believe it was in 1984 that they did this. And because this is an undersized lot, they were only able to build a very small cottage on this lot. And that was before their children were grown and they had grandkids. And now as their family expands and all their children are having children, they are requiring more space. Right now, there's a ton of occupancy in the cottage. There's a loft area that's being used as a bedroom because there's no space. The sitting room was built this way so that the table will get pushed out of the way and a pull-out couch will fit in the living area. When you look at the prelim, it looks like a massive bunkie, and that's not the case. It's basically going to fit a mother, father, and 3 children in this sleeping cabin. And in regards to the kitchen area, obviously no kitchen area is planned for this particular bunkie. And if there was ever any renovations to the bunkie anyway, it would have to go through the building department. And obviously a kitchen is not a permitted use.
Okay, Ken, go ahead.
Yes, through the chair. I think sitting as a committee of an adjustment, we have to be careful. We have to adhere to the Planning Act and the applications that before us. I don't think we can make decisions on something that might happen down the road. That's not our role.
Okay, Wendy?
That, yeah, I'm worried just that the application before us is to give a minor variance to allow a larger footprint. And I'm just questioning why a sleeping cabin needs to be that large. It's 18 by 35. Like, it's almost as big as the cottage itself.
Right.
That's just my concern. I'm also wondering about the lot coverage, like it's up to 8.99% of the lot. through you, Mr. Chair, Martina, do they also need a variance on the lot coverage?
Go ahead, Martina.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the lot coverage for an island is 5% for the primary use and 5% for the accessory. So they're within the lot coverage of that's allowed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, just before we proceed, the new bylaw that we have in our township, Martina, for accessory buildings, accessory residence, does that apply also to shoreline residential?
Through you, Mr. Chair, it applies to shoreline residential, but that's in the zoning bylaw. This property is shoreline residential because as an island, and island properties are not allowed a secondary unit, or like a secondary dwelling unit.
Right. Okay, Ken, are you ready for your motion now? Sorry, we had to delay it for a moment.
Yeah, I'm still prepared. I mean, I look at this bunkie. I mean, they're asking an increase of 133 square feet. That's not a significant increase in my view. Anyway, I'm prepared to approve the application. I noticed they kept it as a low profile building. I take note that neither neighbor has objection on either side. And as, like I say, I approve it with the noted conditions that Martina read out.
Okay. The seconder for that? Is there a seconder for that?
I'll second it just so we can bring it to a vote.
Sure. Any further comments? Well, I have one question, Holly, if I could. A couple things came to light in my review of this, is the fact that the bunkie is going on a rocky outcrop, and the requirement by Autonomy Conservation for a planting plan and for the First Nation review. Are the applicants okay with that requirement?
Yes, I've discussed every requirement with them, and we made the decision to bring this to committee for the slightly larger footprint just due to the familiar requirements, that it was worth going through the various. So I'll just take a step back. If we had have just moved forward with sort of the slightly smaller footprint for the bunkie, we could have just gone straight to building permit without even the requirement of the ORCA permit. It's outside of ORCA's sort of jurisdiction, but because they need that extra 130 square feet for their family and the grandkids, they thought it was worth the risk to go through the variance process, and then now involving both First Nations and ORCA. So they are more than willing and are more than aware of all of the requirements.
Okay. Anything further for members? Jim?
Yes, I am concerned that this is not a sleeping cabin bunkie. This is a small cottage. And I recognize, square footage and all the rest of it. I've got a bunkie on my property. It's 10 by 10. It sleeps 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So you don't need this big space to sleep a family of 5. So I think we should either suspend this and have Holly go back and talk to her clients, or reject it.
Okay, Holly, do you have any comments on that? I should mention to you, Holly, we are down one member on this committee, and a tie vote would be a lost vote. Would you like the consideration to maybe, if it goes for a tie, would you like the opportunity to maybe defer to a future meeting to have further discussion?
It makes no sense to me to not defer it if it comes down to a tie. I'd rather have my clients make that decision rather than me make it for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you saying that you'd like it deferred?
I think I would, if this is a very particular situation where we have a very small cottage with a very large family. I have a family of 5. I have 3 children. It would be completely necessary for me to have this additional space for my large family. It's not, a bunkie isn't just necessarily for sleeping. If it's raining out, I need space for my children. My youngest still is in a portable crib. There are a number of factors that need to be considered when it comes to a bunkie. There is not just this one family of 5. There is a grandmother, other children, and other grandchildren besides this other family of 5. And when you have that many people in a main dwelling, a 600 or 700 square foot cottage, there's just no space for anybody to sit down, to, you know, let the kids color on a little kitchen table or a living room table. So I want that to be considered in this decision, and not just the fact that it is 130 square feet over and that it's not just for sleeping. There should be more things to consider in a bunkie than just putting up 6 bunk beds and being able to fit 6 people.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Martina?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, that's what I was going to mention, that there is a motion on the floor, and that just as a side note, that the committee has to make their decision based on the 4 tests. So that will need to be examined. So I know Member Jackman had mentioned that he said that this application approves the 4 tests. And so just as a reminder that that's the basis for the decision making of this committee.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? Those in favor? Those opposed? Okay, the motion fails. What's the options now for the applicant, Martina?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the committee can pass another motion if it so wished to defer the application to a future meeting pending additional information. Or if Holly and the committee does not want to do that, the motion stays and then the application is denied.
Okay. I would assume the applicant would like it deferred or at least consideration, and then decide in time after discussion with the client whether they wish to proceed or not. Ken?
Well, I'd make a motion then that the application be deferred.
Or would it be better to have consideration for deferral after discussion with the applicant? Is there a seconder for that motion?
Sure, of course.
Jim? Okay, any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. Okay, thank you. Holly, Martina will be in touch with you, and thank you for your understanding, and we can go from, we may see you at a future meeting.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Okay, now our next meeting is planned for May the 28th for the Committee of Adjustment. May 28th, Friday, May 28th. If everyone could note it on their calendar. And we're about 5 minutes before the start of the Douro-Dummer planning meeting, which will start at 9:30. So if we could have a brief break. And before we break, Wendy, you have a question.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the status of Ed's replacement on the committee.
Through you, Mr. Chair, a notice was sent out and solicitations went out to see if anyone was interested. That was in the paper. We sent out personalized emails to all of our user groups, cottage associations, environmental committees. Anyone who'd emailed me planning questions in the past year or so also got an email, because I figured if they're interested in planning questions, they may be interested in the committee. We have not received any applications. So at the moment, the position is still vacant and we are still looking for someone to join our committee.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So we'll motion to adjourn this meeting now, please. Jim, seconded by Wendy. All in favor? Okay, carried. And we'll see each other in about 4 minutes. Thank you. Okay. Okay, looks like we're all set to go. Welcome again, people. We've got to go through the routine again. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that the meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the Township YouTube channel. We're holding the meeting as though we're in the council chambers. We'll follow all the regular procedures and policies of the procedural bylaw. Please raise your hand if you'd like to speak on a matter, and I'll call on you. When I call on the vote, I will call for all those in favor, followed by all those opposed. I'll now call the roll. Please raise your hand and state your presence and when I call your name. Member Wendy Dunford.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Member Ken Jackman.
Here.
Jim Patterson.
Here.
And myself, Chair of the Committee of Planning for Douro-Dummer, Carl Moher. We also have staff members, Martina Chait-Hardwick. That'll be the Deputy Clerk helping us with this details of these applications. And also Nicole Zinner is here to help with some of the technical support that we require. So I'll call the meeting to order. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest of any of the two matters on it be in front of us this morning. So seeing none, our first application is B9020, 1390 Fourth Line Road, South Dummer. Pardon me, I know what I did. I forgot the minutes. Okay, can I have approval of the minutes from March the 26th, please? Wendy and Jim, any questions or comments? All those in favor? Yeah, all those opposed? Okay, it's carried. Thank you. Now application 90-20. Martina, can you give us a summary? We've, I guess, updates from last meeting. This was an application that was deferred from our last meeting, and there was a site visit completed and with various parties involved. And Martina, you go ahead and provide the update.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair. It's quite a lengthy one, so I apologize. But the report itself and all of the attachments were on our website. So if anyone would like to review them again, they are available there. So as you know, the committee deferred this application on March 26th so that a site visit could take place. The site visit took place on April 1st, 2021. The following people attended: Amy and Scott Woods, who are with us today. Bonnie Ayat, property owner. I don't see her on the screen, but she may be on the phone. Oh, there she is. I see her now. Deputy Mayor Moher was there. Myself, Jake Condon, Manager of Public Works, Andrea Hicks from Cambium Inc., and Matt Wilkinson from Autonomy Region Conservation Authority. The applicants, the agents for the applicants, Amy and Scott, did take some notes, and they were attached to this report for you. So if you'd like, I'm sure they can review those for you, but I will skip that in the sense of time. Andrea Hicks from Cambium had the following comments to make. As a follow-up to the site meeting, I can confirm that I attended the property to review the location of the proposed severance as documented in the NHE study, December 14, 2020. There's a steep slope to the southeast corner of the property with a culvert connection under the road at its base. Wetlands were present off-site on the east side of the road. There's also another cross culvert that was not identified in the study located north of the intersection that conveys flow from the roadside ditch on the west side of the road to the ditch wetland feature on the east side of the road. The laneway of the proposed severance would need to provide suitable clearance from this cross culvert, as was discussed during the meeting. The location of the proposed severance is considered an appropriate location from a natural heritage perspective due to the absence of features on or adjacent to the proposed lot. The location of the proposed lot also avoids the placement of building structures or laneways close to the slope of the southeast corner. The natural heritage evaluation does not comment on the stable top of the slope for this feature, as it was outside of the scope of work. However, a conservative setback of 15 meters was provided in order to avoid the need for further technical studies of the slope. If development or site alteration is proposed within 15 meters of the top of the slope, Orca would require a slope stability study in order to confirm the stable top of the bank and confirm setbacks. The location of the proposed severance avoids the need for this additional study and maintains the slope in its existing undisturbed state. Based on the site meeting, erosion control measures during construction should include a straw bale check dam upstream of the cross culvert to protect water quality entering the adjacent surface water features. Matt Wilkinson from the Autonomy Region Conservation Authority states that at the township's request, I attended a site visit on April 1st. At the meeting, we discussed if the proposed lot were to be moved further to the south. This would bring the proposed lot adjacent to the top steep slope, possible erosion hazard. If this proposal were presented at pre-consultation, I would require an erosion hazard limit be delineated to address the area under ORCA regulations. I would recommend that a building envelope be identified and that the hazard lands and buffer be rezoned as a condition of the consent to protect further development in this area. Jake Condon, Manager of Public Works, states that as per the site meeting on April 1st, it is the recommendation of the Manager of Public Works that a safe entrance to the lot be kept at the original proposed location. The cross culvert at this location will interfere with moving the entrance to the south. The steep incline embankment further to the south of the culvert would require extensive excavation to protect from erosion and to provide a safe entrance onto the road. At the meeting on March 26th, there were comments regarding the protection of agricultural lands and how this application interplays with the provincial policy statement and the official plan. Under the new PPS, the current official plan and what will be the new official plan, the lands involved in this application are considered rural, where limited severances are allowed to happen. At the moment, the designation of agricultural, prime agricultural, and candidate agricultural are not in effect in the township. We are able to see how those new designations will affect the township when the new official plan comes into effect and enacts the province's agricultural system mapping and prime agricultural system mapping. There were links in the report to those maps so that they were able to be seen by everyone. Based on the information provided by the experts regarding the land, natural hazards, additional studies such as slope stability study and the ability for a safe entrance, staff are recommending that the committee pass a resolution, which is the same resolution that I had on my last report. And I've also received a comment from Amanda that I'd like to read before I read the recommendation in its entirety. Amanda states, hi Martina, I apologize, I missed your request at the bottom of the email. As discussed, I am not sure it would be appropriate for me to attend the meeting and provide the county's planning opinion on when this is, as this is the township's opportunity to comment on a severance proposal. I would not want it to be perceived that county staff is trying to influence township's decisions. The preliminary severance review did not address the agricultural nature of the property since the subject lands are not identified as a significant agricultural area, prime or candidate area in the provincial agricultural system map within the growth plan. As you know, Douro-Dummer does not have an agricultural designation or zoning that provides specific guidance or priorities for agricultural properties either. The growth plan has very strict rules regarding wetlands, natural heritage, and key hydrological features. And the official plan statement has a very strong policies for public safety, namely hazardous lands, including wetlands, flood-prone areas, and unstable soils, which were given priority during the county's preliminary review of this proposal. I'll just reiterate here that it is the committee's role to provide comment or recommendation regarding conditions that council may consider in their appraisal of the consent application. The committee cannot require the applicants to amend their application or request any additional studies before they provide their decision. If the whole committee shares these concerns, however, they could make recommendations to council for conditions to satisfy these concerns or that council not support the application and that it be referred to County Land Division Committee for further discussion and final decisions. I hope this helps. Please contact me if you need anything further. The recommended resolution for this application is that it be recommended to council that severance application B9020 for Bonnie Ayotte and Alan Vilner be approved, and if approved by the Peterborough County Land Division Committee, that the following conditions be imposed. A $1,250 cash in lieu of parkland fee be paid to the municipality, that the applicants confirm the use of the retained lot is primarily agricultural. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the discussion we had at the last meeting regarding the property and whether it was considered a hobby farm. It was determined to be a hobby farm, so we don't need that condition. That a 3-meter strip of frontage from the severed parcel be deeded to the township for road widening purposes, and that a safe entrance be approved by the manager of public works. And Amy and Scott are here to answer any questions, or I'm happy to answer any questions you may have as well.
Martina, just about the rezoning of the retained, does that still apply?
No, because it's been determined that it is a hobby farm, that rezoning is no longer required.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Martina. The Woods, any comments further relative to what was said? We've received all the information. We've received your notes. We've received the notes from all the people involved. Any further comments?
John, sorry. Yeah, to be honest with you, since the last planning committee, I've probably written down 100 comments or more. But every time I go back to them, they really become irrelevant because they've been answered or identified or clarified, or the steps have been taken. So really at this point, we're $8,000 into this application over a year. It's completely absorbed us. So at this point, we're only here to ask the committee to weigh all factors, and we're here to provide comments and answer questions.
Okay, thank you. Before we go any further, Martina, the information from the county planner, should we be receiving that document? Because I'm not sure it was in our package.
Yeah, we can receive that as a separate item.
Okay, motion to receive that additional information regarding this application, please. Jim and Wendy, all those in favor? Okay, thank you. And those opposed, seeing none, carried. Okay, now, members, I wonder if I should maybe go first on this. I was out on the 1st of April, and I agree that there's no other alternative to the original location. There's a cross culvert there that I didn't notice on my original visit, and it is best practice in rural areas to try to place lots along fence lines or along property lines. But I think we've got an exception here that there's no alternative. And after reviewing it with all the parties involved, I've got to support the application. I think there's some of the things that that should have happened before our original meeting back in a month ago. We could have approved it then if we had further comments from the planning people regarding best practices in agriculture. But that because they weren't on any of the planning reports, we felt delaying it was probably the best. Well, that was the reason for my recommending delaying it, but there's no alternatives in my opinion. So other members, comments? Ken? Go ahead, Ken.
I'll try this again. I move that we approve the application, or recommend to council they approve the application.
With the conditions applied.
Yes.
Okay, there's a second for that motion. Wendy?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, those opposed? Seeing none, carried. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Wood, this gets moved to the Township Council. This committee recommends to Township Council to recommend this application, which goes to the county authority who are the deciding factor, along with other agencies like Autonomy Conservation and various other agencies. So I think you're well on your way here to move forward. I apologize for all the details here, but we're finding in the last year and a half or so, there seems to be a lot more detail to a lot of these applications. So good luck with your project, and hopefully you can move to Douro-Dummer soon.
Thank you. I appreciate that it took a bit, but I'm glad that we got here and have the support now. And we do look forward to it.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to get here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next application we have, it's a preliminary application for Conroy's. And Wendy, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chair. I just want to know that last letter that Martina read out, that we voted to receive Amanda's report. Will that be included in our next minutes, or can we get that report emailed to us? It sounded like it had a lot of really good direction in it for our committee. I'd like to have a copy.
Yeah, I can send that out after the meeting.
Sure.
Great.
Thank
you.
Good point, Wendy.
Thank you.
Okay, the preliminary severance for Conroy, Lot 5, Concession 4, in the Douro ward. Martina, can you go forward? I think we have Mr. Conroy here, and he'll be here to answer any questions we have. So go ahead.
Very good. So this location is in the hamlet of Douro. It's at 329 Douro 4th Line Road in the Douro ward. It's for the creation of 2 potential residential lots. The official plan designation on all of the lots in question, severed 1, severed 2, and the possible retained, is rural. The severance proposal does not appear to conform to the county's official plan, section 2.6.3.1. In the rural designation, a maximum of 2 severances are permitted from a property as it existed 25 years prior to the date of application. Peterborough County Land Division records indicate that the subject property received a consent for 2 lots in 2014, and therefore the property is not eligible for a severance at this time. Again, there's been 2 lots already created, so the property would not be eligible for severances in the rural designation until 2039. The zoning on severed lot 1 and severed lot 2 is rural. Rezonings would not be required. For the retained lot, the zoning is rural and a rezoning is required. The severed parcels appear to meet the minimum lot area and frontage requirements of the rural zone, but the retained parcel does not meet the lot area and frontage requirements of the zone, and therefore does not comply with the zoning bylaw. A farm including a single detached dwelling is permitted in the rural use, provided the parcel has a minimum lot area of 20 hectares and a minimum lot frontage of 35 meters. The provincial policy statement and the growth plan both apply to this proposal. There were key natural heritage features and hydrological features that have been identified on or adjacent to the property, which are non-evaluated wetlands. The proposed lots do appear to be outside of the 120-meter buffer and therefore will not require any studies, and therefore this application would conform to that section of the growth plan. The property is also located within a candidate agricultural area. However, the provincial mapping for agricultural land base has not been implemented into the county's official plan. The PPS allows for limited residential severances on rural lands at this time. Safe entrances are possible, but a 3-meter road widening strip and a culvert will be required for both lots. There's no concerns from the chief building official on the development of these lands. And the recommendation that staff is making is that it be recommended to council that when formal severance applications for John and Carolyn Conroy, that it be recommended to council that when formal severance applications be received from John and Carolyn Conroy, be denied, as it does not appear to conform to the township's official plan, zoning bylaw, or the county's official plan. However, if approved by the Land Division Committee, that the following conditions would be imposed. A $1,250 cash in lieu of parkland fee be paid to the municipality for each lot. That a 3-meter strip of frontage from the severed parcels be deeded to the township for road widening purposes. That a safe entrance be approved by the manager of public works for both lots, and that when the applicant files a formal consent application, there will be a fee to inspect the test holes to ensure that a septic system would be viable. The current fees are $150 per lot and $150 for the retained lot if it's vacant, and the applicant is responsible for the digging of the test holes.
Thank you. Mr. Conroy, any comments further? You're muted. We can't hear you. You can unmute, hit the space bar on your PC. There you go.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes, that's better.
Hello?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. No, I just want to hear what the committee has to say. I was hoping to, I submitted 2 proposals to the county. I was hoping to, like, with that field beside the graveyard there, is to split it in 2 and have access off of the 4th line to one lot facing the 4th line, and the other access to the in behind, like to a house in behind, if at all possible, instead of the 2 off facing the 4th line. That's
There's one issue here that there are a couple issues that the particular lot that's between your residence and the graveyard is within the hamlet.
yes.
Martina, could you maybe articulate some options for Mr. Conroy that for moving forward with some kind of application?
Absolutely. Sorry, Mr. Conroy, if I misinterpreted our discussions, I thought you were interested in the 2 square lots, not the 2 long skinny lots.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah,
Oh,
the 2
okay.
square, yes. The
Okay,
2
perfect.
skinny lots, I was just concerned about being a smaller area. According to the county, like according to Amanda Warren there from the county, was saying your width, if it's, let's say 100 feet wide, it can't be any deeper than double the width. Is that correct?
That is the preferred method. That's right.
I see. That's all I was really concerned about. Like if it's 100 feet wide, I'd still want to maintain at least an acre. Like that's what I thought it was, the ruling there.
You would have to have an acre. That's correct as well. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I hadn't misinterpreted the request you're making, because anyways,
No.
Sorry, let me stop tripping over my words and I'll answer the chair's questions.
Okay.
So the 2 lots that are before you are within the rural area. And in the rural area, you can only have 2 severances every 25 years. So you would have to wait till 2039 to move forward with these lots, this more square style lots in the rural area. If you are interested in the 2 lots in the hamlet area, which would be sandwiched in between the cemetery and then the other lot to the south, those lots would again need a rezoning. Those lots are in the hamlet, and the hamlet does allow 5 lots every 25 years. If those are the lots that you would want us to revisit, I would prefer to write a new report so that I can evaluate them on their own, as opposed to trying to evaluate them in conjunction with these lots in the rural area. But off the top of my head, I would know that we would want a condition regarding the water potability in that area, because I do know that the village struggles with water closer to that intersection. So that's one item we would want to consider. But I'm happy to write a future report for the next meeting so that the committee can have all of the details in front of them.
I see. Yeah, I guess we just misunderstood one another. Like, yeah, it was always in my intentions, because she told me I couldn't sever in between like the property 383 and 345. That was my original proposal, like those 2 square, yes. And she said no, I couldn't because of that. I already had 2 lots severed, like within 25 years. Now what I'm getting at is in between the graveyard and property 383, I was hoping just to split that field in half, and have one road access to the backfield to a property, and then one off of the front, County Road 4.
I'm just, sorry.
I think there's a lot of what ifs here that probably be best to defer it to a future meeting. And then because there's frontage issues, there's various size of lot issues, there's water issues. It's probably best to do this offline rather than at this public meeting.
I see.
Would you agree, Mr. Conroy?
What do you mean as far as offline? Like you want me to come into the council meeting?
Because there's so many regulations anymore on these lots, I think it'd be best, because our proposal in front of us are the 2 lots at south of 383. And those lots don't qualify for any severance at this point.
No, that wasn't in question this meeting. No, it's where I wanted is the ones north of that 383.
Okay. Well, then we'd have to defer this to a future meeting because as a committee, we don't have any of those details.
Well, that's okay. I thought Amanda Warren had sent you all that information regarding. When they phoned me there a couple weeks ago, she asked me. Now I sent 2 proposals in for that lot north of 383. I submitted 2 proposals to Amanda Warren from the county, is to split that. As you can see, that field is split it in 2,
okay,
and have one, like I have a road access to the back east part of that field. That way I get
okay,
in two big lots, eh?
right. This committee doesn't have any of that information. So Martina, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Sorry, I couldn't. I was not sure if you could see me because of the screen share that I just put up. John is right. There were 2 preliminary severance reviews submitted, but in speaking to John, he had asked for the 2 south lots to be considered, which were more square. But as I said, I'm happy to speak with John and go over his new idea and see what we can do and bring that back to the committee. Because it's quite a bit different than what was spoken about before, especially with the back lot. So,
okay.
Yeah, I guess we've misunderstood one another because that one, the ones that were south of 383, I was told I couldn't do that because of the 25-year ruling. But when you had phoned me or whoever phoned me there, my understanding was the lots north of 383, divide that field in half. That's what I was hoping, but if I can't, then I'll the 2 lots.
No, it doesn't mean anything right now. We just need to have the information in front of us before we can consider it. So
Okay.
I think Martina's suggestion of working with you to develop a plan and meet in our next meeting is May 28th. And hopefully we can have the details put together by that meeting.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Okay, then I guess really what a motion to defer that application for perhaps further consideration at a future meeting. If somebody could move that, please. Wendy, and anyone second that? Jim? Okay, all in favor? Okay, so that'll be on a future meeting and hopefully we can get it on the next meeting. I think that's about it. Information items, the new county official plan. Anyone interested on getting updates, check the county website. There's various points on there that are available for input and so on. There's various information that's been already collected. There's all kinds of new regulations coming down from the province. Some of them will be agreeable with all of us, but many of them may not be. I guess the point of getting our spoke in early would be a good idea. So I leave that with you. Also, a reminder, the next meeting is April the 28th. We have a meeting on planning with council members and this committee, just to bring us up to date on some of the new things that are coming down the pipe. I think one of the things I want to zero in on is best practices for the prevention of fragmentation of agricultural lands. We seem to, recently, and whether you people have noticed or not, but we seem to be focusing a lot on natural heritage, wetlands, and SARS and zoning. Agriculture seems to be getting a backseat treatment. So I think that's got to change, or at least have further comments on the planning reports, because it is one of the major items or one key points in the new provincial policy statements. So hopefully we can get that addressed at that meeting as well. So hopefully everyone is staying safe and staying well. So anything further that anyone wants to bring in front of the committee? Okay, I guess a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is May 28th. Motion to adjourn. Wendy? And Jim? Okay, all in favor? Okay, have a great day, folks, and have a safe weekend. Hopefully we'll
You
be
too.
out of this crazy times soon. Thank you.